Okay guys, you need to buckle up because we have a lot of Love After Lockup updates to cover in this video. First, starting off with Lisa. She was the one that dated freaky little Stan, you know, the one that liked to wear a straitjacket and be pegged in the basement. Well, Lisa is currently wanted by the police. The police ended up issuing a bolo showing that she's currently wanted and she's out of custody. And this is just from September 9th, 3 days ago. And I did look it up and confirm she's still wanted. It's not showing any new charges, so I'm assuming this is a probation or parole violation. Lisa's in her 40s and still on this BS. At this point, I'm convinced she's going to probably be in and out of prison for the rest of her life. Now, let's talk about SHEIN and John. SHEIN is currently serving time for his animal cruelty case, and John was just arrested. He was arrested on September 4th, and it shows he got a violation of pretrial bail or conditions, which I'm assuming he broke his probation, probably pissed dirty or didn't show up to a court date, and he is currently in the same exact jail as SHEIN. I mean, that jail's so big, I'm sure there's hella different pods, so the likelihood of them being together is probably small, but just imagine if they were in the same cell together. Like, I'm sure they would be bothering the hell out of each other every single day. I can see it now. John probably walked into that jail pod and said, "Big Daddy's home." And now let's talk about somebody else that was recently arrested, and that's Haley's ex, Dalton. So shout out to Sarcasm for breaking this story. And the story behind his arrest is pretty crazy. He got hit with 6 different charges after he led police on a chase, and he ended up breaking into someone's house, and he threatened to unalive multiple police officers. So according to a press release that Sarcasm got a hold of, it says Dalton kept calling 911 over and over again because he said he didn't feel right. So they end up sending out an ambulance to check on him. And then once the ambulance shows up, he starts acting different, irritated that the ambulance is there, even though he asked them to send them. He refused treatment and he jumped in a car and drove away. And then later on, the police were dispatched to go check on Dalton. And when they approached him, they saw him sitting in his vehicle, and they started following him and noticed that he was driving erratically and he was showing multiple signs of intoxication. They're like, "We got to get this guy off the road." So they decided to pursue him and turn on their lights. And as they were following him, he just kept driving. And then he drove into a residential neighborhood and he drove circles in the front yard of some house. And then when the police pulled up, he jumped out and he ensued in a chase with the officers and was struggling with police as they were trying to apprehend him. And he was eventually arrested and taken to a hospital where they ended up testing him for alcohol. And he also put his hands on one of the officers while he was at the hospital, and that's when he threatened to unalive numerous officers. He was arrested and charged with driving while intoxicated, resisting arrest /search /transport, evading arrest or detention with a vehicle, burglary of habitation, assault on a peace officer, and obstruction of retaliation. And the Sherman Police Department shared a press release talking about how he called 911 and then refused service. They felt like he was taking advantage of the 911 operator and, you know, the service and using it incorrectly. And they noted that while the police were chasing Dalton and were pursuing him in this neighborhood, they claimed that Dalton was continuously sticking his head out of the vehicle and vomiting out of the vehicle like the whole time. And he also was caught throwing drugs out the window. And when they ended up finally arresting him, they had to try to tase him multiple times, and they had to send EMS once again and take him to the hospital since he was vomiting so much. Oh my god, that's insane. I bet the body cam footage from that arrest and that pursuit is some crazy freaking footage. And Andrea, you know, the one that was with Lamar, she posted on her stories the other day a picture of this big house and said, with much gratitude, soon we will be starting the phases of building our dream home. And I wonder if this is just inspiration or if this is the house they're really building. If so, they gotta be making some good money to afford something like that. Each kid could have their own like house inside of that house and their own living quarters with the size of that place. And now let's talk about Dylan. I revealed in a video, my last Love After Lockup Updates video, that Dylan was arrested recently, and then he was going around telling people that Marissa had hacked his OF and IG and ended up deleting them. A few days ago, he posted and said, imagine lying to the police, and this is on his Facebook, and he says, having your partner arrested, and as soon as they're gone, you start sending yourself money from their account. And it shows right here that it's a little hard to read. It looks like there is about $400 and something that was transferred to Marissa from this account. And I'm assuming that's probably money that he made from OF before she decided to delete the page. Now let's talk about Dylan's ex, Heather. So Xavier has his own TikTok account and he's over 1,000 followers, so he can go live now. So the other night when Heather was gone taking care of something, Xavier decided to go live, and with Heather nowhere near around him to micromanage everything he says, he opened up quite a bit. He was reading all the comments, answering questions, and he said that Heather went somewhere and he was feeling insecure because he was worried that maybe she was doing something she wasn't supposed to be doing. But he's like, you know, but I'm trusting that she's not going to do anything. But I would be lying if I try to say I was insecure. Then he revealed that Heather and him are no longer living in the shelter. He claims they left a few weeks ago. They've been sleeping on the street. Shout out to Crazy Train. They just posted a live of Heather's that I missed. And in this live, Heather revealed that they have reduced her visits with her son in half. And I think she was originally seeing her son 3 times a week, I'm pretty sure. I haven't seen them posted up with a tent, so I'm very curious where they're sleeping unless they've managed to get a tent by now. And Heather has been upset online because I guess Instagram decided to take her Heather Gee account. She had to make a new Instagram once again. And now I want to talk about a quick update with Arthur's GoFundMe. I like to keep up with these GoFundMes and see like how much they grow. And when we last talked about it, his GoFundMe was sitting at 0, but now it's sitting at $100 of his $25,000 goal. And then his mom made a separate GoFundMe for him. And I can't remember what the goal was for hers, but the last time I saw it a few days ago, it was at like $425, $450 that has been raised since the last episode. So he's starting to see some progress with his. I don't know why he just doesn't do 1 GoFundMe instead of 2, because you think that would be a lot easier to manage. Now let's talk about Deontay. Deontay has been pretty quiet, but he came out the other day and did a live. And I guess he was pretty upset because I guess a cast member from this season has talked to him in the DMs. And they told Deontay, oh yeah, by the way, when the producers brought us on, they told us not to talk to you and warned us that you were creepy and that you say too much. And I guess Deontay said that all the cast members, since he spoke out against them, have been warned to not talk to Deontay. And they're like, oh, he's going to try to be your friend. Keep your distance from him. And Deontay was very unhappy with that. He pretty much said F Sharp Entertainment. And I had a feeling they probably weren't going to bring Deontay back for like any updates, like Where Are They Now segments, which I'm pretty sure those should be starting again here when this season of Life After Lockup starts. Don't quote me on that, but I feel like that's usually when they start showing those episodes, is when Life After Lockup's airing. And I felt like they probably weren't going to bring him back because he's already spoken out so much against them, but I feel like that live he did the other day kind of seals the deal and seals his fate with them, that they're not going to want to bring him back again. I just feel like the producers just don't like any of the cast members talking or being friends in general. A lot of cast members had said that that was a rule in their contract, that they weren't supposed to be friends with other cast members. And I feel like they do that to prevent people from like comparing wages and comparing their experiences. Like, you know, one person might say, oh yeah, they told me to do this, but I told them no, and we didn't do it. Another person might, you know, be like, damn, I've been telling them yes to everything because I thought I had to do it, you know, and they don't want people to, you know, learn about things like that. So I feel like that's why they don't like cast members talking. But that is it with this video, guys. Let me know what you guys think about everything in the comments below. Check out my lashes at AccordingtoAmber.com. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.